section 7.4 for our unit 7 on polynomials, long division with polynomials. Something to help you remember as we do this is Microsoft Corporation. What you repeatedly do so you don't lose track of where you are is you multiply, subtract, copy. Let me write that somewhere. It doesn't stand for Microsoft. It stands for you multiply when you do long division, multiply, subtract, and copy. Multiply, subtract, and copy. So in order to start this, we're going to try just with numbers, with constants, and then we do it with these polynomials, which are much more difficult. So let's just pay attention to what we're doing. So 5 into 75, we first go, how many times does 5 go into 7? Once, and then you multiply 1 times 5, and then you subtract, and you get 2, and then you copy the 5. And that's a complete round, multiply, subtract, copy. And then you do it again. 5 goes into 25 5 times. So you multiply, subtract, and when there's nothing left to copy, that's when you're done. So that was it. That was just a, so the solution here is 15. And now we're going to try one that takes a few more steps, just as like a warm up, just to get into the routine of how this works. So we'd say, okay, 3 into 7 twice is the most. 2 times 3 is 6. Subtract and copy. 5 is the most for 16. So we get multiply 15, subtract, copy. If you've really got to do your bookkeeping carefully, you'll end up having to do it again. 4, 12, subtract, copy. And then what do we have here? 7, subtract, and copy. So we're going to do the last time, and you get 7, subtract. Now the remainder is 1. So you can write it as 1, or what you really would need to do, so if I multiplied this times 3, I wouldn't get this back, right? Because I've got this remainder of 1. So if I wanted to actually try it, I would have to add 1/3 to this number. And then when I multiply these together, I would get 76,432. So we're not going to, in our answers, we're not going to leave we're not going to just say remainder 1 and leave it like that. We're going to say plus 1/3. Because that's really what getting remainder of 1 means. Yeah.
Can you just do like a decimal? Or?
You should leave it as a fraction, okay, because we're going to do it with polynomials in a second. So that's how you leave it. That's something you probably haven't done before. So you're going to. Okay. So now we have 3 examples. I'm going to do the first 2, and then you're going to do the third one to show that you're ready. So. Actually, I might do all 3. So p plus 5 goes into 3p squared. If you see me do anything wrong, feel free to let me know, because it's easy to miss things. Now, this is a little bit trickier than the numbers because you've got a p plus 5. So the only terms you're going to look at are the first ones. That's it. Okay, and you're going to say, what times p gives you 3p squared? And the answer is?
3p.
3p, good. So you put a 3p on top. 3p. Okay, and now we're going to go through our one whole thing carefully of multiply, subtract, copy. Okay, now when you multiply, you've got to multiply by, I'm just going to put parentheses around it so you see. You have to multiply it by both of these. So you do 3p times p is 3p squared. And 3p times 5 is plus 15p. Okay, and if you did it right, these two will be identical. Whether they're positive or negative, they're going to be identical because when you subtract, always put parentheses around this when you subtract. Because you got to, the negative distributes. So these will always go away if you're on the right track, the first term. The next is careful arithmetic, 6 minus 15, okay? Because you're subtracting. 6 minus 15 is negative 7p. So we're done subtracting, and then we multiply, subtract, copy. And now we're going to go through another iteration. So we're going to figure out, just looking at p, only p and negative 7p, we're going to, thank you. Yes, thank you. Minus 9, good. Good. Okay, and then we're going to do, so now we have to figure out what times p gives you negative 9p, and that is negative 9. See how easy it is to make a mistake? So negative 9 times this, distribute to both, you get negative 9p minus 45, right? But you're going to subtract, just get into the habit. Put subtract and put parentheses around the whole thing. Trust me. You're going to need to do that. Now, you're often going to have a negative subtracting a negative. And that's the hardest thing. That's a bunch of negatives. So it really becomes plus 9p. So this goes away. So we're on the right track. You can always check each time if you're on the right track. These will add to 0. Here we have negative 42. Is it plus or minus 45? It's plus 45. So we get 3, okay? So we subtracted, and do we have anything to copy? No, so we're done. Our remainder is 3, so our final answer is 3p minus 9 plus 3 over p plus 5. And that's how we write our final answer. Now, it's difficult to check. You can't really multiply it back out to check very well. So you just got to be careful. But the one thing you can check is that first term always adds to 0, those first terms. Okay, let's do one more. Now, I have a new thing to throw in here. Do you see where a placeholder might be needed in this polynomial? Yeah, what is it? What is it? That's it. N squared. N squared is missing. Yeah, n squared is missing. So I'm going to do n minus 3 into n cubed plus 0n squared minus 5n minus 8. See how I didn't change anything? Adding 0 doesn't change anything. But if you don't have the placeholder, the terms won't line up, and you won't be able to add and subtract them correctly. So that's what I mean by make sure before you even start the problem that you've taken care of any placeholders. Okay, so now we're going to go through the steps. So we just look at n and n cubed only. So we put n squared. That's to get us started. And then we multiply n squared times n minus 3. So you get n cubed minus 3n squared. Then you subtract the whole thing. N cubes cancel. We have minus a negative 3, which is plus 3n squared. And then we copy. That finishes a whole round. Now we're going to go another round. We just look at the first term, the n and the 3n squared. So it's plus 3n. We multiply, we get 3n squared minus 9n. Subtract the whole thing. Negative 5 plus 9 is 4, positive 4n. Copy. We finished a whole round. We're ready to go again. So n times what is 4n? Plus 4. Yep. 4 times n minus 3 is 4n minus 12. Subtract the whole thing. Negative 8 plus 12 is 4. Is there anything to copy? Nope. So our final answer is this dividend plus 4 over n minus 3. So that's the answer there. That's the whole answer there. And we're going to do one more.
I have a question.
Yes.
How did you get a 0?
is 0n squared?
Yeah.
So when a polynomial is in standard form, it's the highest exponent first, and then it goes down from there, right? Like this, 2, see 2, 1, 0, right? But in this polynomial, you've got cubed, and then you jump to the 1 power. So you have to add to the second power. If any terms are missing in there, you have to pretend like it's a 0, so it's a placeholder. Okay, last example. Let's do one more so we get the hang of it. Let's try, and feel free to work ahead of me if you have it down. So this is n cubed minus 2n squared minus 24n minus 47. So we've got 3, 2, 1, 0. We're good. We don't need any placeholders. You'll catch yourself eventually if you forget to do a placeholder, but then you'll be a little frustrated because you'll already have done a lot of the problem and you'll have to start over. So we look at just the first terms, n and n cubed, and that's going to be n squared. So we get n cubed plus 5n squared. So that was multiplying. Then we subtract. And we get negative 2 minus 5 is negative 7n squared. And then copy. So that was a complete iteration. Now we're going to try again. Just look at n and negative 7n squared. So what do I put up there? Minus 7n. Careful, watch your signs. You want it to match up exactly with negative 7n squared, so it's negative 7n. Negative 7n minus 35n. Yeah, question?
If you match up the signs, then why on the second one do you say minus 9n instead of plus 9n?
Where are we in this problem? Why is it minus 9n right here?
Yeah, because
You want to match these, the first terms, not the second ones. So here we are, because we want these to match because we're going to go minus and parentheses around it. So that way it adds to 0. So you have a negative 24 minus a negative 35, which is plus 35. So that's positive 9n, I believe. So we're done with subtraction. Then we copy. And then we do, okay, n and 9n. That's easy. Yeah? Let's see. You may be right. Plus 35. Yes, it certainly is. It's basic arithmetic. I can't do 11. Okay. Just keep watching. This is the kind of bookkeeping. You have to be really careful. You only have, I believe, you only have 6 problems to do. And this is why, because you have to do it so carefully. So where was I? Subtract, copy. Okay, so here we go. Plus 11, right? To make it match this. So 11n plus 55. And then you subtract. And so negative 47 minus 55 is negative 102. And is there anything else to copy? Okay, so we're done. And so our remainder is negative 102. So you'd write minus 102 over n plus 5. And this is the answer that you would box as your final answer.